What's up, people? Welcome or welcome back to Invest with T Claus. My name is Tevi, and this channel is dedicated to my investment journey, along with coverage on crypto, Tesla, Neo, Virgin Galactic, and ChargePoint. Come for the information and stay for the perspective. Let's start today with a quick announcement. I've gone through and reorganized the channel to have each stock with its own playlist. This can be found under the playlist tab on the main page. This should hopefully make it easier to catch up on any video you may have missed. And also, if you want to binge watch the content to help the channel increase the viewing time, that would be a quick way to do so. Alright, so let's talk about ChargePoint now. The stock price has not looked the healthiest in over a month, and it's finally caught up to them. There is now a risk that a company could have its stock delisted. That, of course, probably has people worried about what comes next. And so in today's video, that will be the focus of the conversation. I will give you the cliff notes of the non-compliance notice ChargePoint received from the New York Stock Exchange due to the stock price being under $1. We will then take a quick look at the analyst ratings, some changes here, and I'll close with what I'm personally doing as far as buying, holding, or selling. As always, this is not to be taken as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is my personal approach to investing and the thought process behind it. I'd recommend watching all the way through so that you don't miss out on anything pertinent I will be sharing. Drop the video an like if you haven't already, and smash that subscribe button. Those are two easy ways to show your support to the channel and help it grow if you appreciate the content. Alright, let's get into it. The ChargePoint stock closed the week down 3.30% at 76 cents, and over the past month, it has lost just over 28%. The stock spent the better part of January and all of February so far under the $1 mark. The implication here is, of course, that any stock listed on the New York Stock Exchange needs to maintain a minimum price per share of $1 or greater for 30 days. Now that ChargePoint has failed to meet that requirement, they have just been served a notice of noncompliance. This is breaking news and was made public on Friday, February 21st, so just this Friday, but the actual notification was received by ChargePoint a couple of days ago prior on the 19th. Now, before everyone panics, let's take a look at the notice and what it actually means. As I stated earlier, the reason for the notice is the failure to maintain the stock price above the $1 mark for 30 days. The good news here is that this notice of noncompliance does not mean that the stock is at an immediate risk of being delisted. Now, similar to the process I covered in a previous video with Virgin Galactic, there is a series of milestones and appeals that a company has to fail to meet over an extended period of time before actually getting delisted. So you can watch that video and those details here if you want the full rundown. But back to ChargePoint. Now that they have been served this notice, ChargePoint did state that it would respond to the New York Stock Exchange committee by March 5th, I believe, yes, March 5th, and disclose how they intend to remediate the situation. The key point here is that as long as the stock price can cross the $1 mark and stay above this level for a full month over the next 6 months, any months within the next 6 months, then that would be sufficient to regain compliance, which is good. And so really the last thing to note here then, and this is important, one of the ways ChargePoint is considering further protecting the stock from being delisted is by enacting a reverse stock split. Again, similar to what Virgin Galactic did somewhat recently. There's no details yet on the ratio that could be proposed. However, that information should be made public around March 5th when they communicate the official plans to regain compliance. Either way, shareholders will need to vote and approve the decision to enact the reverse stock split, so look for that if you are a share owner. The bottom line here is that ChargePoint is not at an immediate risk of being delisted, but this will still certainly impact investor sentiment, which was not the greatest already given how low we've fallen. So more on my personal thoughts later in the video. Let's take a quick look at the analyst ratings and I'll circle back on what I'm personally doing. It's not surprising then to see the overall consensus rating remain a hold, but the recommendation is now made up of 8 ratings instead of 9 prior. The breakdown is as follows. We have 0 buy rating versus 2 before. We've maintained the 6 hold ratings, and sell ratings have increased to 2 versus 1 prior. The high end of the price target range has further decreased from $3 to $2 even. The low end has also decreased to now 75 cents versus $1.20 prior. And not surprisingly, the average consensus price target is also lower at $1.61 versus $2.12 previously. As great as the projected 111.81% upside potential may sound, I would caution against putting too much faith into that number. And that brings us to my personal thoughts around this whole thing, right? So let me start by saying that my long-term view on ChargePoint as a company is still bullish. I use their charger every week, and the fact that they're essentially building the public infrastructure in the US and part of Europe makes them beyond relevant. With that said, the near-term picture from a stock price perspective, however, is not the greatest, to put it bluntly. And so one thing to call out is that there's probably an opportunity to very near-term swing trade the stock for a 25% or greater gain as ChargePoint aims to push the stock price back over the $1 mark, right, from the 76 cents. But I personally will not be doing that. I think that's a pretty heavy gamble if you ask me. And also the fact that a reverse stock split is being considered is problematic in my book. And here's what I mean. This is going to be great for a company, right? As it is the quickest way to regain compliance and get the share price above the $1 mark. But for shareholders, especially small shareholders, it is not great at all, near term, okay? Essentially, in a reverse stock split situation, you as a shareholder will end up with less shares worth the same amount. So for example, in a 4-to-1 reverse split scenario, if you had 100 shares worth, let's say, $75, post-split, you would have 25 shares worth the same amount of $75. Now, why this matters and where it becomes problematic, in my opinion, is when you look at the upside potential from there. So really, instead of earning $100 per $1 the stock gains, you'd now only be earning $25, right? Because you have 4 times less the amount of shares. The point is, this is good for protecting the business both near term and long term, but it is terrible for small investors near term. I would argue that long term the business surviving and thriving is great for the small investor as well. But again, we have to balance out the near term and the long term aspect. So the bottom line here, and as far as I'm concerned, I will not be adding more shares as I was initially planning to do. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to what I have until I know if a reverse stock split is going to be enacted and to what magnitude, right? So the earnings call is coming up on March 4th. My focus will be on the commentary and forward guidance that they provide around all of this. And at that time, I will decide if I want to continue to hold, start buying again, or maybe sell. So we'll find out. With all that said, I will circle back post-earnings call with my takeaways. We will see how it goes. But on that note, that is it for me today. If you found value in my content and feel so inclined, use the thanks button at the bottom of the screen. Remember to click the like button and share with others who you think could also benefit from it. And for my newcomers, subscribe. It's free, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you too can stay in the know. I'll be back on Sunday for my weekly video and potentially during the week for an extra one. Till then, you can keep up with me here on X for crypto and NFT related news. Thank you for watching, stay humble, hustle hard, and I'll see you in the next one.